Hey everybody, welcome back to Engaging the Phenomenon, and today we're going to talk about a contact method that I'm dubbing Metta contact. That's M-E-T-T-A contact. And this is a contact method that I developed on my own intuitively over the many years of CE5, HICE, cognitive human interface, and contact work that I've been doing over the last decade or so. So you could consider this a type of CE5, but this is not the CE5 protocol. In my own experience, this is actually much more effective than the CE5 protocol. Again, just for me, because it works to my personal strengths, and it's something I intuitively developed and made a track for. And the word metta means, in Sanskrit, loving kindness. And Joseph Goldstein, the author and insight meditation teacher, has said, well, in the West we kind of look at loving kindness like this kind of whooshy kind of thing, when it kind of, a good Western translation would be well-wishing. So you're wishing others well, basically, right? It's the heart and the spirit of that. And in my own kind of approach with this, I also use elements of gratitude and what could be considered bodhicitta, which is the awakened heart or the awakened mind of the heart, and that's again in the spirit of kind of like a universal awakening thing, in the spirit of all beings, right? So a connectedness to all life everywhere, and with wishing them well, and hoping to elevate their consciousness as well. So that's kind of what the bodhicitta aspect means. But again, getting back to the metta aspect of well-wishing, and if you want to look up some really good information on metta, you can find it by looking up people like Joseph Goldstein, Sharon Salzberg, who's written books on it, and Jack Kornfield. And I'll leave some of their information and description so you can see exactly what metta is and how you can apply it in a very basic sense. I think metta is a great practice in general, and if you practice meditation, I think you should be practicing metta meditation as well, just for so many reasons. But again, getting to the metta and contact, the way I would generally do this is I would sit down, as I'm going to sit down for like a meditation, and personally for me, I'll do some breathing exercises for maybe just 2 minutes, and then get into a state of where you have the intent to initiate contact, but while you're doing that, you're emanating and embodying a feeling and spirit of well-wishing. So you're sitting quietly with the intention to connect with other benevolent, peaceful intelligences that would like to interact with you in a way of loving kindness or well-wishing, for the kind of elevation of consciousness of all beings, in that sense, in that spirit. And when I do this, I really get into a place of great gratitude, and you'll feel different physiologically. You'll feel lighter. You'll feel kind of like good, and you'll feel positive vibes, right? If I can use that terminology, when you're doing this, and you literally just sit in that state. And you can use images as a representation. You can just use the feelings and the knowing aspect of that, and literally sit in that state for 20 to 30 minutes, projecting that intention and emanating those feelings of loving kindness and well-wishing, with the intention to connect with UFO intelligence or benevolent, peaceful beings. And that's literally the practice, and again, using a source of gratitude is also a great way to empower this technique. And for some people this might be easy. If you're somebody who's considered an empath, this will probably come very natural to you. If you're not somebody who is has an affinity towards those kind of practices or states, I'd consider recalling a time in your mind where you were in a state like that. Like if you have children, or you had an example of a time you can remember where you were really in that state, and you can think to that time and what that feeling felt like, and try to anchor that in for doing this practice. So again, this is the very short version of metta contact. So you can use this technique or method as a version of CE5 or HICE, Human Initiated Contact Events. You can do this by yourself or with an entire group of people. And again, for me, this is one of the most effective techniques that I use to this day. And very simple. There's not much you're doing. You're not going through a whole process of things. Again, for somebody like me, this comes very naturally, and all you have to do is sit there in a centered state and with the intention for contact. But while you have the intention for contact, you're emanating and embodying states of loving kindness, well-wishing. And if you want to add gratitude, it really helps. And also that bodhicitta element, where you're projecting a connection through the universe for the benefit of all beings to be elevated everywhere. Again, that's just my take on metta contact. I hope you appreciate that. Some people, I hope you find this useful and implement it. It's very easy to do. And again, in my experience, super effective. So thank you so much, guys. See you next time.